Hello, everyone, and welcome to Imagine Visions for a Better World. Today, we are very glad to host with us a special guest, Eddy Van Hemelrijck. He's a professor at the Karl de Groot Business School in Antwerp, where he gives lecture on sustainable business, personal development and management skills, and intercultural management. And he's also co-founder of Emerging Life and co-founder of Rethinking Economics Antwerp. So Eddy, thank you very much to be here with us. For us, it's really a huge honor to have you as our first guest.
Thank you very much, Alberto. Also, thank you very much for the introduction. I'm very glad to be with you. I've been in AlmaU more than 3 years ago, so I hope to return one day because it was a fantastic experience with great students and very friendly staff.
Great. So we are waiting for you. So in a TED talk you had some time ago, you proposed the Ikigai as a model for individual personal development. Could you tell us briefly what is the Ikigai and why it matters?
Okay, so Ikigai is a Japanese word. It means your reason for being. Why are you here on this planet? If you wake up in the morning, what's the purpose? What's the goal of your life? So finding your purpose in life. I'll give you an example. My Ikigai is teaching to youngsters about things that really matter to me, namely how to move towards a thriving society with respect for all what lives on this planet, plants, trees, flowers, animals, birds. So the Ikigai model invites us to self-reflect and to discover what gives us energy, what makes us feel alive. It makes us think about what we can do to contribute to the world and how we can find satisfaction in what we do. So the feedback that I get from students and alumni is very rewarding, and I do see impact of my teaching in the way these students and alumni move forward in life. So the 4 basic questions are: what do you love? What's your passion? What are you good at? What are your strengths? How can you contribute to the world around you? And how do you feel rewarded for what you're doing? So each of you can ask yourself the 4 questions. And if they're all answered with a yes, it means you've reached your Ikigai. Now, if you look at Western management literature, they use the Ikigai model as well, but they mainly apply it for after having found your passion and your strength to get a job that rewards you financially. Where I have the feeling that if you look to the East, it's more about finding your personal satisfaction and your contribution to society. Now, in my TED talk, I mentioned that quite a few people have trouble in really living their Ikigai because in our Western society, the dominance of the economic narrative is very strong. We have become a society that lives to serve the needs of our economy, where I believe it should be the other way around.
Let me ask my second question connected exactly to this aspect about rethinking our economic system. So what are the steps that, in your perspective, need to be taken in order to make our economic system more sustainable as well as desirable?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. For that, actually, I joined 2 years ago the Rethinking Economics movement. So I co-founded Rethinking Economics Antwerp, which is my hometown. You can see the cathedral in the background, okay. So the Rethinking Economics movement started in the UK 10 years ago by professors and students, and they feel that how economics was taught in university was outdated and actually even dangerous. Students were taught mostly the neoclassical economy that proved to have serious effects, both in our environment, pollution, climate change, biodiversity loss, and so on, as well as for our society. If we see today, we have increased inequality, we have loss of democratic rights. So what Rethinking Economics wants is to promote pluralism in the way to teach economics in university. So variety. Quite often it's called heterodox economics, and it includes feminist economics, social economics, ecological economics. I call myself like more an environmental economist or ecological economist. So the idea of Rethinking Economics is to promote in universities different schools of thoughts in economics. Now, back to your main question, what do we need to shape a more sustainable and desirable economic system? I think we really need to change to have a system reset where we as a society now serve the economy. We should have the economy servicing us, humanity. And what we need to do, I think we need to heal. It's a very important word. We need to heal all the damages that we've done to our planet and our people, and we need to restart. We need to start regenerating our planet. I'm a very big believer in regenerative culture or management. We get more and more warning signs that since the system of today is failing, we have financial crisis of 2008, we have climate change, biodiversity loss. Actually, the corona pandemic today, you could also see as a kind of warning sign linking to the fact that our basis, that current economic system, is not okay. Now, for me, the main driver, and it's not really mentioned a lot in publications, but the main driver of our economic system of today is how we create money. Money is at the core. Our current system, how we create money, is based on debt. And debt, you need to repay it with interest. And that's the problem, because if you need to repay interest, you need to repay your debt and pay interest, you need to grow. We should, and that's, we push ourselves into a growth economy. We need to sell more, we need to make more, we need to have more customers. Even universities, like we're working in both of us, we need to have more students. Otherwise, we cannot pay back our loan. And this is madness, because we live on a planet with finite resources, and we are still made to believe that we can grow forever. That is, I think, something at the core. It's our money system. And together with a few people of Haponomy, it's an NGO, we're working on an alternative monetary system. It's called SAMSI. And I will explain it very briefly. There are three components. And it's also important for the Ikigai. I'll come back to that in a minute. First of all, we need a universal guaranteed income, which means actually what in the US is happening. They're getting a check now. Every American citizen is going to get a check. Okay, it's a one-time check. What I would like to have is a returning universal guaranteed income that people have from a certain age, so that we can take away uncertainty and stress. A lot of people end up in jobs they don't like, but they need the money to pay a lot of things. If you give them a universal guaranteed income with which they can pay their basic needs, then they can start working at the things they really enjoy. It can be working in childcare or whatever, still being paid jobs, but there is less stress. Secondly, the system SAMSI also introduces negative interest, which is a concept that perhaps your students will also be familiar with, or other people, which means that if you have too much money, you will have to pay. There is a bank, or more and more banks in Western Europe now are introducing that concept. Triodos Bank, it's a Dutch-Belgian bank. If you have more than 500,000 euro on your bank account, you will have to pay the bank. So there is a kind of ceiling. This is important because our inequality is rising a lot. The haves and the have-nots. So we would like to have a kind of ceiling with the negative interest, and the money that comes from that negative interest will be used, and that's the third component, for projects for the common good. That can be ecological, social, it can be education, it can be healthcare, and so on. So that combination of universal guaranteed income, negative interest, and projects for the common good, people will decide what are the projects we consider as important, will allow us to have sufficient money available all the time. So money will no longer be scarce, there will be abundance of money, and we can actually focus on the things that really matter.
I have one last question, and it's more related to you as professor. Can you tell us what role or what kind of action can people working in academia perform in order to improve and develop our society? So we have an important role in our system, but what we can do more to be driver of change for our society?
Yeah, I think there is indeed a very important role to be played by education from a very young age, not only universities and business schools, but also primary and secondary education. At the moment, our educational system has become part of the economic paradigm of growth. So we are being ruled by that drive for growth, even in our educational system. We have more students, we need more publications, we need more money. We should turn that more into better and in eventually good. Now, back to my role as a professor, and then I will also talk about research, as I think it's also important. I think we should stop teaching stuff that enforces our current system of unhealthy money-based competition, which is suffocating humans and life in general on our planet. So at the moment, we should really think about topics that help our society to get better and stronger. So we should perhaps teach them things a bit differently than we're doing today. For example, we should teach them knowledge, skills, and values and attitudes that will help mankind to regenerate life on our planet. So, and it starts with teaching them how to live in a VUCA world. VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. There is so much uncertainty these days. Corona was a very good example of the VUCA world. So we need to develop people that have competences like resilience, like flexibility, like reasoning, ideation, creativity, emotional and adaptive intelligence, true listening, making sure that people have a growth mindset, that they are even willing to fail and try and do again and again, a reiterative process. They should be eager for lifelong learning because it's changing every day. I mean, we're teaching now for people that will have jobs that do not exist today, but will exist there in 5 years. So I think it's very important to work on competences, like what I was saying. And we need to also teach them to cooperate instead of compete. When university students, economic students start, they still are cooperating. At the end of their studies, they're competing against each other because we taught them to compete. Healthy competition is okay, but I think we should move towards how can we cooperate, work together as a population on this planet to get things better. So we need to learn them basically from a young age to respect and to love all what is alive on this planet. Because we humans, we need healthy ecosystems to live a healthy life. I'll end with a personal story, and then I teach the business students, so future entrepreneurs. They enter our university, many of them with a dream to become rich and famous. That's why they choose for business. But after having followed courses like personal development, building sustainable business, they start to understand that you can be a lot more happy when you have a close network of family and friends and people around you that respect you. It's not important to have 10,000 followers and likes on Facebook. It's the quality of these connections that matter. And they also realize that having sufficient income to have a good life is important. So they still want to go in business, but they want to make sure, because perhaps we open their eyes in our university, that they design a product or a service that's actually not harmful to life, and that is actually good. And they also think about, okay, if we're going to employ people, we should give them a fair wage. We should include diversity in the people that we engage for our jobs. We will work with durable materials. Many of them want to go in fashion, so for them, they like in the third year, they make a thesis about slow fashion because they see the negative impact of fast fashion. So actually, I think the role of universities is to teach students to be ready to add value to our society, and with what they're going to do afterwards to regenerate connections between people live on our planet, and we should not teach them things that destroy societies and the environment. That's basically my message.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Eddy, for your outstanding reflections and critical considerations. I'm sure that our audience will really enjoy our interview. And thank you again also for your time.
It's a pleasure. And if people want to be connected, it's always nice to be connected with people from different places on this planet. So, and good luck for all. Enjoy search for your Ikigai, and it also enjoy the process of what really triggers you, and live a life that matters, not only to you, but also perhaps the people around you. So if you could do that, I would be very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Goodbye, everyone.